Sometimes our hardest moments become the reason we're able to truly show up for others. My path to pelvic health was not planned, but it's where I found real purpose, and it's why I do what I do today. I didn't wake up one day and say, oh, pelvic floor therapy, that's it. Honestly, I didn't even know this specialty existed when I started my career. But what I did know was what it was like to be in pain, to feel like no one quite understood what I was going through, to be dismissed or told it was just stress or you just have to live with it. And I know what it's like to feel unsupported and rejected by those who used to be your encouragers and your cheerleaders. And those experiences, the ones that left me frustrated, isolated, even hopeless, ended up being the ones that lit a fire in me, not just to get myself better, but to make sure that other people never had to go through their healing journey alone and feeling isolated like I did. That's how pelvic health found me. Through struggle, yes, but also through deep learning, through listening, and through showing up again and again for people who just want to feel seen, supported, and whole again. As I mentioned toward the end of my last video, one reason I chose pelvic health was because of my own personal struggles. I've had pelvic pain, actually several kinds of pelvic pain, and for years I didn't think anything could be done about it. I was never given any options besides, just live with it. Now I know these problems are treatable with physical therapy, and I want to give others the solution that took me so long to find. So now what do I do? I mean, it's a great and maybe even a noble idea, but how am I going to get there? Any ideas? Well, the first step was just to get back into the game. I had been out of the profession for 14 years. More about that in my last video. I found this way more challenging than I had ever expected. Now, my new second career was in a hospital setting. That was where I got my first job. I learned really quickly it was not a good fit for me at all. And I got fired from it pretty quickly. The second step of this journey took a very unexpected turn. I had been offered my dream job as a pelvic floor therapist in a local specialty clinic. And that fell through. No warning, just a phone call from the clinic owner 1 week before I was supposed to start working there. They told me they had changed their mind about hiring me. My clinical skills weren't good enough for them. And I was left with nothing to fall back on. I heard I was not good enough for them. I was devastated. My dream was shattered. And I didn't know if I could pick myself up again. But sometimes the dark threads in our life creates the most beautiful stories. If it were not for that rejection, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today, and this video would not exist. Long story short, I ended up in a geriatric setting, which was in a retirement community, which I said I would never, ever, ever do. Never say never. Never say never. I fell in love with it. I discovered how much I enjoyed working with that age group. I stayed there until changes at the facility caused my hours to drop dramatically, and I needed more work. So I found another job at a nursing home, which I also said I would never, ever do. But I needed the hours. I really liked the rehab manager, and she liked what I had as a skill set. She wanted to find somebody who could address the pelvic health needs of the residents in the nursing home. Nobody was doing it, but the residents were asking for it. My new boss told me, go, do whatever you need to do. I will support you. And that was the start of my new focus in pelvic health. I began creating what was the first ever pelvic floor physical therapy program in a long-term care setting, at least in our area. Now, I had the skills and knowledge that I needed, but it was a daunting task, and I felt really, really inadequate. So I figured out things as I went. I figured it would be good enough, and hopefully it would help those who were asking for it. I worked at the nursing home for several more years, and then I got an opportunity to do pelvic floor therapy as an independent contractor with a startup practice. Let's just say that did not go as we had hoped, and I was told to leave. I was given 3 options: quit, go work for someone else, or start my own practice. I did not want to start my own practice, but my desire to continue in pelvic health far outweighed the sheer terror of thinking of starting my own practice. So I went on my own to start my own private practice. Oh gosh, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no existing referral sources, no group of patients who could follow me over, and no support either. It was truly sink or swim. I had only 1 patient to start with, 1. Still had to pay the bills, so I took a PRN job in a town 1.5 hours away, about 3 days a week, and I did that for over 6 months until my caseload eventually grew and was able to sustain the business. Well, my practice eventually grew, and I found support through a wonderful business coach and a community of PT practice owners. My gosh, that was a lifesaver. My journey has been far from easy. This path has been full of detours, roadblocks, and at times I felt like I've been put on do not pass go. There have been disappointments, heartbreaks, and a lot of tears. I've moved from employee to being a business owner and an entrepreneur, and you know, at times it can be overwhelming. But I have a lot of tenacity, and I am not one to give up easily. I've also made new discoveries, learned new skills, like how to make a YouTube video, and gained even more expertise. I love that part. I am totally a learning junkie. And I've made so many new connections and built new relationships with other pelvic floor therapists from around the world. And I can share that knowledge with you now. And I've been able to help people in ways like never before. People like Margaret. Margaret was my first pelvic floor therapy patient, and I want to share her story because it's very unique and inspiring as well. Now, Margaret was not my patient at first, and she had a series of very unfortunate medical events which landed her wheelchair bound and in skilled nursing for rehab. I saw her work with her therapist. I saw her perseverance, her grit, her determination to walk out of there and return home. She heard about me and she asked if I could help her with her bladder problem. Now, mind you, I was brand new to this. So she told me she had a hysterectomy in her 30s. During the surgery, they clipped the main nerve going to her bladder, so now she had no sensation of when she needed to go when her bladder was full. Every morning her bed was wet, and when she walked to the bathroom, she left a trail of puddles behind her. And she wanted to get over this. And if pelvic PT could help her, she would do whatever it took to make it happen. I asked myself, how was I going to help her? No idea. We had a goal of her getting 50% better. Found out she had muscle control. She could eke out a tiny pelvic floor contraction. So we had something to work with. Now fast forward 12 weeks. She was 90% better. We were both shocked. She proudly announced to me that she was waking up dry every morning. Not only that, but she could wait to have her breakfast and coffee, then get to the bathroom without any dribbles along the way. And she looked right at me and said, "Thank you." I still get emotional when I talk about this. That's why I do this, because of people like Margaret. So, has it been worth it? I think so. Margaret definitely thought so. Now, we both had our struggles that could have easily stopped us from moving forward. I think that it's the struggles that made us stronger and more resilient. And as this journey continues, I'm looking for new ways to help even more men and women find relief from leakage, pain, or other problems down there. Writing the book, Piss Off, was the first step in that journey. Making these videos is another. I want to help connect you with authentic, expert-level, practical information and resources that can truly make a difference for you, help you better understand your problem, and learn how to solve it with a little help and guidance. So if you're looking for something like that, let me know in the comments below. Download some of our free resources or contact us through our website. Wait, what happened to Margaret, you might ask? Oh, well, Margaret did walk out of that nursing home and live the rest of her life with her family. She passed away several years ago, and at her funeral, her daughter told me that she did her pelvic floor exercises every day. She was so grateful to finally have her bladder control back, and grateful to spend the rest of her days with her family. So if you're walking a similar path, whether you're in the thick of recovery or just starting to ask questions about your pelvic health, please know you're not alone. I see you, and I've been there too, and there is help. That's why I do this work, and it's why I share these stories, to remind you that healing is possible, even if it didn't look the way you expected. If something in this video resonated with you, I would love to stay connected. You can subscribe here for more honest conversations like this one, or you can check out the free resources listed below to support your own journey or your patient's journey if you're a provider like me. Thanks for spending this time with me. Take good care of yourself and keep going.